Welcome to another episode of Boots on the Ground, where we discuss Israel's war, politics, and identity. Today, I'm joined by Master Sergeant Joshua Boone. Joshua has made the long journey from Boise, Idaho, to Israel to serve in the Army and has served now over 700 days in our current war. Before we get to Josh, as always, we want to say thank you to our partners here at the Jerusalem Media Group and to our sponsors at BeThereIsrael.com. BeThereIsrael.com provides live video streaming services for all of your events here in Israel. So even if you can't have your family and friends and audience here live, they can join in through BeThereIsrael.com. And as always, if you like what you see, like, share, and subscribe so you can keep seeing more. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to be here. So let's start from the beginning. Boise, Idaho to Israel. Where do we even go from there? How many Jews are there even in Boise, Idaho? What was your connection to Judaism, to Zionism, and what motivated you to come to Israel and serve in the army?
When I was growing up, I knew of maybe 200 Jewish people in Idaho as a whole. There's two synagogues there. There's a Bet Chabad, which is like 5 people, and then there's the Reform, or the rest of them, but they mostly just go to Hagim, and they're
Okay.
a little out there. But my mom raised me very Zionist and very much with the Jewish identity. And I went to public school, and I was the only Jewish kid in this high school, about 3,000 students, where I did face a lot of anti-Semitism growing up, and was in a lot of fist fights and everything like that. But it was like the whole point was like be proud of who you are. My family escaped Russia right before World War II started. And some of the family didn't make it out, and they ended up, dying in the Holocaust and during the war. So I was, raised with this identity of like, be proud of who you are. You're a Jew, and that's like you're a warrior, and this is who you are. So even when I was a wrestler, and when you're in senior year, there's a little booklet they have, and has your name, your photo, and what your goals are in life. And mine said, go to Israel and join the army. Right? And so, of course, everyone, they're looking at this like, what? Like, who's this? Who's this guy? Everyone's like, Marine Corps. I mean, it's like, no, I'm going to Israel.
So what year did you come to Israel
So
then?
I came to Israel in 2012.
Okay.
No, so first time I came to Israel was 2010. I was on a high school trip for Middle Eastern Studies, and I fell in love with it. We were 2 weeks in Jordan and then 2 weeks here in Israel. And right when I crossed the border, I was like, I just felt at home. And it was funny because we're at Allenby, there's a border crossing. And of course, my first time seeing, Israeli military Magavnik girls. And I'm 17 years old. And so I was like, I'm going to flirt my way through this whole situation, and they're all looking at you like, oh, you're so Hamoud, a little American idiot kind of kid. And then one of my friends was in there for like hours. I'm like, what the heck happened to you? He's like, I got a guy. And he decided to do his job. That's like, oh, sucks to be you, man. But I fell in love with Israel, and I knew I was coming back. And I just didn't know how the process was or what was going to happen. And so then in 2012, I came here, and I was on Kibbutz Ana Shofet for 3
Okay.
months. And then I heard about the Mahal program and how to get in the army. Well, because there's no Jews in Idaho, and my family is not liberal, so they don't really fit with the reform, and they weren't really religious. So like we went to maybe the shul for like the high holidays, but that was it. We weren't really very active. But I needed a letter from a rabbi, so I go to fly back to America, go talk to the rabbi. And he's like, well, I really don't know you, but from what I can see, you're Jewish from what I can tell. So what do you write in the letter? Josh is Jewish from what I can tell. Not that my mom's Jewish, just like from what I see, he's Jewish. So I come back and, go to the Jewish agency, turn it in, and everyone's waiting. I'm with a bunch of guys at a hostel that are also doing Mahal. And we're all waiting for, the Ishur. And then I go in, they're like, no good. And I had no idea what's going on. The lady spoke no English. She spoke Russian and Hebrew, and I had no Hebrew at that time. And she kept saying, no good, no good, lotov, lotov. I was like, what's going on? It's because the letter didn't say that
They
my
were
mom's
Jewish.
Jewish, right? So then I
This
was
is also
heartbroken.
your whole life you were fighting as a Jew to
Yeah,
protect your Jewishness,
yeah,
and now you're being told that we don't believe you that you're Jewish.
yeah. So I was extremely heartbroken. And I went back to America and I became a firefighter. I was with the Wildland Forest Service. And then Suketan happened. And in 2014. And I made a friend here when I was trying to draft. His name was Max Steinberg. He fell back in
Suketan.
Suketan. And so I found out he fell in combat. And I was like, that's it. Like, I'm not going to sit at home while my friends go to war. So I went and talked to the rabbi. We had a long conversation. He's like, okay, I'll write you the right letter. I'm sorry. He writes it on the first flight over. I do the Mechina Gurin Machal. I met good old Baruch. And so we go to the Jewish agency, give them the proper letter. But this time they flagged me, right? They think I'm some sort of undercover missionary. And so they're like, no, we're not allowing it. And so the guy Baruch is going to fight for me. He's like, no, like, you understand. He's like been Jewish his whole life. He's fought because he's a Jew. And this is ridiculous. And I remember one time sitting there, I was so frustrated because you get these kids from New York and from Miami, never worked a day on a farm or with their hands at all. And I remember telling Baruch one night, I was like, I've literally like bled because I'm a Jew before even coming here. And yet I'm not good enough because like I'm not some rich Jewish kid in New York. Like I'm from Idaho. And the Jewish agency said, okay, fine. If you are active in your community for a year, then we will consider it. Fine. Flew back to America. 1 year later, flew back. Came back with all the things saying I was volunteering and helping security and all this stuff. And they're like, okay, we like the direction. Another 6 months. I was like, what? Yeah, come back in 6 months. Went back to America. 6 months later, flew right back here. And at that time, I'm 23 years old. And the cutoff for Machal is 24. It's like, this is my last shot. So go in the Jewish agency, turn in everything again. And then they called me for a meeting. And so I went in to the nines, kippah, tzitzit, everything. I was like, I'm not messing, I'm not playing this game. So went in there and they're like, why do you keep coming back? Every year your name's popping up. Like, tell us why. So I explained to them, I was like, listen, my whole life I've been a Jew and I'm very proud of it. And I grew up in a place there are not many. There's no Jewish private schools. There's nothing like that. There's a lot of rednecks, white supremacists, and that's what I dealt with my entire life. And my friend was killed in Gaza, and my whole wanting to be here is because I know how important Israel is. And they sat there, they talked amongst themselves for a second, and they're like, all right, we'll approve it. He gave me the approval, and then they invited me over for Shabbat dinner.
That is about as classic Israel as you can get.
Yeah.
So then you start Machal. It's now 2016.
2016 started Machal. You actually drove me to Bakum.
I did.
You did, yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
don't even remember that day.
Yeah, you drove me and kicked me out of the car and said, send us a picture in your uniform.
Good luck.
And yeah, so I started Mikveh Alone in December of 2016. Finished there, got into Golani.
And for our listeners who don't know, Mechiveh Alon is an educational base where a lot of immigrants and volunteers for the Israeli army start their army service, which is a 3-month Hebrew course, to make sure it's the very, very, very basics of basic training. And it's an ulpan. It's to make sure that you know enough Hebrew and you have the foundation that you can learn more off of so you can have a successful army career.
Exactly. It's a lot of monkey see, monkey do in the beginning. You run a lot because you mess up on your Hebrew or you mess up on your accounting, but that's how you learn.
Exactly.
And so finished Mikveh Alon, went to Golani. That was my dream. I had a bunch of friends in Golani, and also Max, he was in Golani 13. Rest in peace. And so I get to Golani, and yeah, like my Hebrew was, I could understand a decent amount, but me trying to talk was very, very difficult. Like there was a time where like we were in Krav Maga, and I got a kick into the lower regions. But I didn't know that in Hebrew it's called bitzim, right? So I kept saying akaduim sheli, right? And there was like my Katsine just looks at me and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Down there," and he's like, "Oh." So
Oh my God.
yeah, good. A lot of funny stories with Hebrew where they sent me to find a bag of electricity because they're like, "Oh, go to the midbach. There's sakit chashmal." I'm like, "We
Right.
need this." And I was there for
Exactly.
20 minutes searching for a bag that said chashmal, and they thought it was hilarious.
So like we used to send people to sweep the sunshine off the sidewalks and collect the magic dust that would power the electric dust, we used to call it.
Yeah.
Kat Kashmal.
Chashmal.
Send the new guys out to yeah, it's a little bit of fun
Yeah.
at your expense, but that's okay.
Yeah,
So
Um,
so I wanna fast forward. I want to get to
okay.
you. So you serve in the army. You do your year plus as
I
machal.
Yeah, I did 2 years.
Okay.
I was a sniper. I was the only one from my draft to actually go to sniper school because the way it works is every other draft they send a couple
Hmm.
guys to join the Tzevet. But I was the only one picked, and then I was sent there. And it was very special for me because my grandfather, he taught me how to shoot, and he was a qualified sniper in the U.S. military back Vietnam days. And he died of cancer when I was 19. But his last sentence to me was, "Go to the army, become a sniper. Like, you shoot pretty good." And so when I finished sniper's course, Miss Diane, like, best one there, and I got my pin, I started to tear up, and all the instructors knew my story, right? And it was very, very moving that moment.
To put that, but you're not just a sniper now in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. You're a sniper in an IDF uniform
Yeah,
protecting the Jewish people. That's
exactly, which is even more meaning. And then right after I finished course sniper school, the riots in Gaza happened in 2018.
the right. We're talking about the riots on the fence
Yeah,
when they
the riots
started
on the
rioting on
fence.
the fence and getting closer and closer to the fence and backing
Exactly.
off and getting closer and closer again.
Yeah, we had times where there'd be like 5,000 people charging the fence at one time. And as a sniper, your job is to find the guys who are instigating and all the Hamas people, and then take their knee out. And it got crazy. Like, I remember during the big one when the embassy moved to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
Like, they all ran, and all you hear on the radio is, if you like snipers, if you have a target, shoot, shoot, shoot. Because like we were dropping tear gas, everything we could, like, and they just weren't stopping. I mean, they pick up tear gas and throw it right back at you. And then the
Mm.
wind, the wind would come from the
From the
coast, and you
coast,
see
it
that
blows it
cloud of gas coming. You're like,
coming back at
no.
you. I've been in that situation once or twice.
Yeah, that was always
100%.
fun.
And that was back in 2018.
Yeah,
So that's 5 years before October 7th. They were rioting on the fence already then.
yeah.
And that was just a precursor, sort of like a prelude to what was going to happen 5 years later.
Yeah.
You finish your army service,
So I
and then what?
finished my army service and then started working in the old city doing security for the Jewish families in the Muslim quarter. I had an offer to work at a shooting range called Caliber 3, and I was conflicted what I wanted to do. And my father said, he's like, "The old city's sheepdog work. Go continue protecting the people. You're a sheepdog." So, I went to the old city. I was there for almost 2 years. And then I got a job offer in Africa where I was in Nigeria for a year and a half. And then I went back to the States. I was there about 6 months. I was being a shooting instructor and doing stuff like that. And then I was bored and I was like, I need to go home. So I came back to Israel. And then a month later,
War broke
October
out.
7th.
So one second, you mentioned the term the sheepdog. It's actually recently I was looking back on stuff I've written years and years and years ago, and it was something it was an analogy that you taught me,
Hmm.
that you told me it was your grandfather, your father taught you that in the world there's sheep, there's wolves, and there's sheepdogs, and
Yeah.
that your goal in life is to always be the sheepdog,
Yeah.
to be the protector. There's the sheep that need to be protected, there's the wolves that are trying to eat them, and there's the sheepdogs that are giving of themselves, that are always sacrificing themselves for the herd, sacrificing their own interests for the needs of the group. And it was something that I learned from you, that analogy. I wrote a whole article about that
Wow.
many, many years ago using that same analogy. So before we get into October 7th and the current war and everything you've done since then, where you've touched on it, but where did that motivation come from? Where was that need? Again, it's nice that your grandfather was a sniper. It's great that your father taught you, but what? Try and share with us what inside motivated you. What inside, to keep coming back to the Jewish Agency to get your foot in the door to begin with. You know, to to, to go to sniper school, you can get chosen. It's still volunteer. It's still doing more than everyone else, and it's taking a tremendous amount of responsibility on your own shoulders. And to keep staying, Machal is only a year and a half. You did 2 years already at that point. What what inside of you, what was motivating, what was pushing you forward to keep wearing that uniform and serving the Jewish people?
I would say it was the feeling of purpose, a very big purpose that was greater than myself. Um, and it was like God put this fire inside me. And that's the only way I can describe it is that, you know, God, since I was a child, He had, I would always, play as the Israeli soldier. Like, He gave me this dream and goal. And I didn't, of course, when you're a kid and everything, you never know what's in the future is going to happen and how everything worked out. Um, but that's what all I can say is that it was a God given motivation, and it's just always been driving inside me where I am a protector. That's always been my goal, and to continue protecting the Jewish people in any way I can is that is who I am. It's hard for me to think of me doing something any different. I could not sit at a desk in an office.
I
I'd definitely
cannot
go crazy.
cannot see you at a desk.
Nah. So, this is just been who I am, and it's my identity, and it's a God given identity. Not just being a Jew, but being one who protects our people from the monsters out there, and we do what we do because we don't, it's not that we hate them, it's because we love us. Like, we don't hate what's in front of us, we love what's behind us. So, I believe that's every warrior's motto.
Yep. So after the army, you continued protecting. You protected the Jewish families of the old city, and you continued on the protecting. And then October 7th happens, the greatest calamity, the greatest disaster, the greatest pogrom
Yeah.
since the Holocaust to the Jewish people. What's going on in your head at that moment? Tell
So,
us when you find out that's when the news hits you, whatever time of day it is. I want to talk about October 7th itself for a minute. That moment, what's going on with Josh?
so October 6th, I was at Nova. Um, the first time I've ever been to a nature party rave ever, and the last time I'll ever be at one. Me and my friends went, and he had a friend who was a hostage. He's now home, thank God, and he's alive. He snuck us in, right? Because we didn't have tickets, so he had us jump the fence. Where then later on, one of the security guys comes up and he's like, "Where's your card, your ticket?" Because they had these wristbands. I was like, "Huh, it was there a couple minutes ago." He's like, "Out." I was like, "All right." I was like, "Yeah." At the same time, I was a boss, so get out of the thing. So I go home and back in Jerusalem, and then October 7th, 6:30 in the morning, my sister's calling me in America, and she's not stopping to call me, or maybe it was like 7, and I'm hungover and Simchat Torah and everything like that, and I was like, "What do you want, kid?" And she's 18 years old, and wants to come to Israel. She was here a month before the war started, and she keeps calling me, and I finally answer. I'm like, "What is it?" And she's like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I'm home. Why?" She's like, "You're not at that party." I was like, "No." She's like, "Joshua, they're dead." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then the sirens went off. And then I was like, okay, that's weird. And then people running, because I was running a lone soldier house. I was helping with the lone soldier house center of town. And then one of the guys runs in. He's like, "Boone, we're under attack. Like, what do we do?" I'm like, "Okay, get everyone to the mamad. Da 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 da." And then my phone goes off, and my MP sends to the group. Really don't know what's going on right now, but be ready. Then my best friend calls me, who's in a specialized unit, and he's on his way down to the OTIF. And he's like, "I got called up. I'll see you on the other side. And then my phone rang. Josh, get to base now. And so, first off, it's Shabbat. I don't have a car. And the base is in the middle of the north, where my storage, the Yamach is at the storage place. Ran into someone randomly who I knew who paid for my cab to get all the way up there. And so I get there, walk in, I'm like, let's go. Like, we're going to Gaza? Let's do this. And I signed on my sniper rifle. I was like, the Terrorist Slayer 9000. And then they look at me and they're like, we're going to Lebanon. I'm like, what, Kisher? Like, what do you mean Lebanon? They're that way. They're south. What do you mean Lebanon right now? Well, then we were sent to Rosh Hashanah right away. And what I was going through my mind is like, okay, like, I don't know, it's just chaos, right? No one knew what was really happening. And then we heard about Hezbollah getting ready to attack. So they sent us to Rosh Hashanah because that was the most important strategic point because that has that road right through to Nahariya, right? If they conquer that area, they get to Nahariya, Shlomi, that whole area.
Exactly.
And so we were there, and then you started hitting you that, okay, the country's at war. There were rockets, there were drones. There was one night where we had this massive drone. They said it was a massive drone attack, which there were some drones, but it turned out what they did was they tied lights to birds to set off all of our sirens and caused a lot of issues. But and I did see a drone on my sniper rifle, and of course it's like 450 meters out, and I decided to take the shot, but I missed the drone, but I hit the power breaker of the Lebanese army inside of Lebanon, and so shut off all the power for Hezbollah in that area, like stuff like that. So it worked out.
Exactly.
So like the colonel came up and he was like, Josh, I know you shot without permission, but I'm not mad because you knocked out their power for the next few days. I was like, told you I'm chosen, told you, like kind of got a little cocky, but yeah, then things got crazy, and then that first month up on Rosh Hashanah, like things got like first time having a noon tet launched at me, where there was a camera.
Tet is an anti-tank missile.
Yeah, the Russian Cornets. So there was this camera that was on a Lebanese army post, right? And this camera would see where every unit went, every squad went whenever there was incoming rockets or mortars or whatever. And so finally, they're like, Josh, shoot the dang camera. I was like, okay. So they tell me to get on this rooftop. And they're like, all right. They all knew there's like Modine intelligence that we were going to get hit by anti-tank rockets, but no one told me. So I'm sitting on this rooftop for like 20 minutes, and nothing's happening. Because like when you hear a boom, start shooting. Like, okay. So I'm there for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's hot. Take my helmet off. I'm just sitting there. And then, boom. Noontay hits maybe like 50 meters from me, the tower. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I like put my helmet on, shoot the camera out. And then my Menpei calls me. He's like, Boone, I need you down here now. I was like, okay, that's fine. But get me off this roof. And I'm like curled up in a ball as just like 5 Nutets hit the tower next to me. Shrapnel hits my helmet. I'm just like, this is not a good spot to be in right now. No. This is terrible. Finally, I look down. I see my buddy running. He's like, help me, like handing him my sniper rifle and handing him this. And I see the other friend like recording. I'm like, would you stop it? Like, help me get off this roof right now. It's like, God, you're a bunch of idiots. And yeah, so we had in the Ocean crowd, we just got hit by noon tets all the time. And then October 20th, we actually saw a Hezbollah squad, and I got one, and almost I think I got one for sure, maybe two. And then they just disappeared. And I remember telling the Menpei and everyone, was like, "There's tunnels over there." No, Josh, there's no tunnels there. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like he was there and then he's gone. Like no one just disappears like that. And then it was ironic because then when they invaded Lebanon in that area, I thought, oh, there it was. Right where I said it was. Who would have known? So, yeah, that was the beginning of the war. Rushing the crowd. The first month was exciting. Yeah.
So then, as I said in the opening, no Army unit has done over 700 days. But as in the opening, you, as Josh, have. So you finished your first deployment with your organic unit that you're part of. And I'm going to make an assumption here that you weren't done protecting. You had more to give.
Yeah.
And then, so tell us how you found, you clearly obviously joined other reserve units. you were north, you were south. I'm never really sure where you are, which direction you're in anymore. I can't keep up with you. But I want to know a little bit of what after you had that first deployment. You clearly did not get your fill of protecting. So what was it that pushed you to keep going more, finding other places, doing more? I want to know what motivated, what pushed you, what was that drive? What was that like to be done with one deployment, be sent back home? Okay, now go chill out for a little bit. How did you deal with that? How did you find more? And then I want to hear like reflect back a little bit. Where the war is not over yet, but it's winding down. We're at the tail end of it. I want you to reflect back after you tell me a little bit about going from one to the other because you haven't had your fill. Reflect back a little bit. Tell me what the moments you're proud of, the moments that scared you the most, the moments that, a little bit on that.
So when we were told that we were finishing, I said, "But the war's not done. There's still people fighting." And also, we were in the north, right? So up there, you're like kind of you just felt like a sitting duck, just getting blasted all the time. And I remember going up, like I was like, "Why do you mean we're finishing? Like how? Like there's like well, it's not done yet. The job's not done. Like, and I don't understand why you're gonna send me home just to call me up again in a week. Like the job's not done. I want to be in this till this job's over." And so then they're like, "Okay, we can sort it out so you can help out with guard duty on bases or whatever." I was like, "Well, that's not what I want to do, but I'll take what I can take right now." Then I'm at a Napak, a little checkpoint in the north, and here comes a Hummer with my Katzin, my Mimim from Ternut. My
Basic training.
yeah, my lieutenant from basic training, who I haven't seen in 6 years. He happens to be the new captain for the medical evac and just convoys and stuff like that, and quick response team. So run into each other. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, how the heck are you?" We talked for a second. He's like, "Do you want to be with me?" I was like, "Absolutely." Like, yeah, take me. I'll take me. Well, the unit I got put in with my reserve duty. First off, I don't know how I got there. I just got put there. I wasn't organic with anyone there. I got put with an Orev Pluga for Khativa Hagana, a defensive brigade, which was very frustrating because I didn't know anybody there, and like they're good guys, but like I want to be on the attack. I'm a sniper. I'm good at it. I've taught them around the world. Let's go. So I finally convinced my colonel at the time to release me on loan. So because my captain in from training, they just got ordered to Gaza, and I was like, "There's no way you're going to Gaza without me watching your back." So we go to Gaza and go in, sign on my big sniper rifle, and then that was crazy. So we were center of Gaza, things, and I'll tell a story there that because I was with the medical evac and also sniper teams, so I was always working, which I like staying busy. It was exhausting, but it was good. So we had a massive attack into Gaza City, and there was a Hamas sniper, who was putting the hurt on a bunch of different units. Because as the medical guys, we kept hearing on the radio, this guy got hit, this guy got hit, this guy got hit. And I'm sitting there and with my 338 Lapua rifle in my hand, and I hear about this guy who got hit right below his plate. Um, and he also took a shot at a guy later on who was in front of me in the Hummer because we were in a convoy, and we took a left, and the guy in front of me took a round to the chest. Luckily, thank God, this Kevlar stopped it. But after I heard about the guy getting hit below the plate, I would start praying, and I said, "God, deliver this one to me. This is how you deliver Goliath to David. This one's mine." Sure enough, 2 days later, we're on a mission, and this guy, the Hamas sniper, takes a shot at our colonel and major. He misses, but I know enough about ballistics and what kind of rifle he was using and the velocity of the rounds, all that, to have an idea where he was. But Gaza is a sniper's paradise. Just darkened buildings, blowing up everything. It's hard to see. Run up and we're looking and have an idea where he is, but not really quite sure. So then we go down. He takes a shot. The Hamas sniper takes a shot, hits the door of the house we're inside, and we're hiding in. And I had a thermal optic that was donated to me. So I gave it to the guy on Shmira, on guard duty. And I said, if you see anything weird, come grab me, because it's starting to get dark. Everything is that. All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, Boone, come here. I was like, what? And I look. There's a guy setting up a sniper's nest 500 meters from us in a building with a perfect line of sight on our door, the back door, windows, like paradise, right? So we run up to the roof because it's dark, and with the thermals, it's hard to see with the camouflage netting and everything. So I need a clear line of sight. So I run up and I give my captain a quick course on how to be a spotter, hand him my personal thermal, because I have a thermal from the Army on my sniper rifle. And I'm on target for about 20 minutes waiting for permission to shoot, because they're worried about friendly fire. Who's this guy? Well, there's no one supposed to be there. I remember one time on the radio, they're like, well, how about we just send a Zeke? And then my officer's like, no, he's on target. Like, he's just let him take the shot. Like, why are you going to drop a missile when you can just hit him? So the batteries actually ran out of my thermal, and so I had to do a tactical switch on my batteries quickly because I was on there forever. And then finally, okay, you got one shot. Boom, take a shot. You see the red fall. They have a tank come up, shoots, he misses. Finally, direct him. He hits where he still missed. He hit the room next to it. And then the next morning, they sent in a Akfan, and sure enough, like, it was him. I got him. And it was funny because the colonel wasn't sure, right? So he sent the other snipers over to where I was at. He's like, find him. I was like, he's dead. And sure enough, there was no more sniper fire from that for none at all from that area since then. And afterwards, like, yep, like, good job, Boone. You got him. And I said, the Lord delivered him in my hands. He was the Goliath, and I had David's sling. The rock goes pretty fast. So that's one of the stories with Gaza. And then that, me taking him out, earned me a reputation, where I was with a sniper commander from a unit that was helping us in Gaza, and they were going to deploy to Gaza right afterwards. So he asked me, he's like, can you come help? I was like, yeah, sure. So from my first time to Gaza, continued another few weeks there with this other unit. And then we got called up to Lebanon, so I had to go back to my normal unit, which that was always very frustrating, because I went from missions going house to house. Like, you feel like you're protecting the people, you're trying to find the hostages, you have all this drive, to being sent up north, sitting there in like some kibbutz, just doing absolutely nothing except Kunim Shachar, where you wake up, at 5 a.m, and then just missiles flying down all the time, and you're playing, dodge the Katusha. So finished there, and then I was like, okay, I'm taking some time off. I lasted about a week until I got a phone call from another sniper team commander saying, hey, I've heard of you. We're short people. Can you come? I said, yeah, no problem. So then I ended up going back down center of Gaza till the invasion of Lebanon, where there I went back to my normal unit, which that was us sitting on a base, just like, it kind of felt like prison. Like, not that I've ever been in prison, but like from what I've heard, you have your 1 hour outside a day, because you'd walk outside, because the base was basically underground, right? And so you'd walk outside like, oh, the sun, and then there would be a missile that'd strike, and you're like, and I go back inside. So then after that, I got with a prison unit that was holding the terrorists down in the south. It was like a riot squad. Interesting job. Didn't really like that one that much. And then I went back to my officer from training. He had a deployment in Lebanon, so I was with them. And then towards the end of that, I get a phone call from a sniper lieutenant in a paratrooper unit, which, I'm a Golani boy. And the Golani and the paratroopers, they don't
They
never
don't
really get
mix.
along.
They don't mix very well.
No. So this guy calls me. And he's like, "Hey, I heard about you. Can you come help?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll be there." So I go down there, and the first mission we have, so we set up this ambush, and I take out two terrorists at 950 meters out, almost a kilometer. One was running, and I always say a prayer before I take a shot. It's like, God guide my round, that no innocents get hurt, only the bad guys. And these shots they're not easy shots, especially with wind and there's all this calculations you gotta do. But afterwards, so I come back to the base and everyone's all impressed. They're like, "Who is this American? Who is this Golani boy?" Well, their head of the battalion commander comes up to me and he's like, "Now everyone wants to work with the team. Where were you in the paratroopers?" I was like, "I'm Golani." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Who knew you guys needed a Golani boy to come fix you guys?" And he's like, "Are you sure you didn't get lost on your way to the tryouts?" I was like, "No, no, no. I'm glad you've been in and out." And I spent another few months there with them, and finished there. Then I got asked to be in Gaza again by another unit down by Khan Yunis. So I was there for another 2 months, and then my normal unit got sent to Syria. So I was there for a couple weeks, and then I wanted to leave that unit and be with my officer from active duty, right? I've already been with him in Gaza and Lebanon, and like that team is my family. And finally, I got permission to switch over permanently. So right now I'm with them in Gaza again for another few weeks.
So the question now is, what's next? Like the war, I'll tell you like this. Eventually, maybe in a few weeks, maybe a few months, maybe in a few years, eventually this war is going to end. The Jewish people are always going to need protectors. They're always going to need the guards on the wall. We're always going to need the people who fear God and protect the Jewish people. Where do you see yourself going next? What's next for Josh Boone?
That's something I've been thinking on a lot lately. What's the next plan? He's given me an amazing woman in my life now, and she really does not want me jumping around unit to unit anymore. And it makes sense. It's like the war is winding down, and I've definitely done a lot. But it is part of who I am, is being that protector. So I'm thinking maybe in the border police or some sort of job as in Israel, right? Being a
Obviously.
combat something soldier, police, or even maybe becoming a weapons instructor here because I really loved teaching, being a combat instructor. Like when I was in Africa, even though I wasn't here protecting people, I was training people to defeat Boko Haram, which is like ISIS. They're very brutal, and it's still protecting innocents, people protecting the innocent, right? Training people to protect the innocent, and so an idea of mine is maybe here becoming a shooting instructor, so I guess teach people to protect themselves, um, or moving into a security field or into the police or something like that. But Israel's my home. I'm here to stay. I tried going back to America for a bit. I lost my mind. I couldn't do it. Like it was boring, and people there are just kind of cuckoo sometimes, especially where I'm from. So it's all those potatoes. But yeah, so that's kind of the plan right now. Kind of seeking God on what path to take and what door He's gonna open. So we'll see.
Yeah. We have one last question for you. And while you think of an answer, I'm going to say a little bit to the crowd. So my last question is what provides you with optimism? Where do you get your optimism from? What is it that when you wake up in the morning and you see the sun shining, what is it that motivates you to keep going and find that optimism? When I think about an answer, I once again want to thank our partners here at the Jerusalem Media Group and our sponsors at BeThereIsrael.com. BeThereIsrael.com provides live streaming services for all of your events and parties here in Israel. For all of your audiences that can't make it, your friends, your family that can't join you here in Israel, they can be part of the event live with BeThereIsrael.com. And again, remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep seeing this content. Josh, what is it that provides you with optimism in life?
I'm glad you explained what optimism was because I really had a hard time remembering.
A hard time remembering, or
Yeah, I
you're
had
not
to
sure?
remembering what optimism. Oh, it's that Idaho education. I'm kidding. Um, I would say searching for God's purpose in my life. Um, seeing seeing how things are now does help. Because of everything I've done, like peace in the streets, everything we've done. This war. And I remember people kept asking me, they're like, because I'm a sniper and also did medical evac, and that was intense, right? And people would ask me, how are you mentally? Like, listen, like taking out bad guys is not a problem. Each bad guy I took out saved 10 of ours or more. And the hard one, things were hard was getting people out and getting to the medical and the helicopters and like you saw, it was pretty rough stuff. But they lived, and was that always gave me happiness too. It's like because I was able to do so much. There's still people that have their dads, their brothers, and it keeps me going every day. Is that my time is not done. There's still work for Josh left in this era. Hashem isn't done with me, so there's still work for me to do. We'll see what the next adventure is, or maybe this will just continue. Hopefully not, but you know,
Well, I, I don't pretend to speak for all of the nation of Israel, but for me personally, and from the people who would agree with me, I want to say thank you to you for everything you've done for all of us. And as always, I'm Yisrael Chai.